call this meeting to order. Let's do the roll call now.
All right. Knack?
Here.
Cramp?
Here.
Bulow?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum.
And now it's time for the land acknowledgement.
Thank you. We're gathered here on the lands that were originally home to the Menominee and Ho-Chunk nations. We honor the Menominee and Ho-Chunk communities and are grateful for their stewardship of the land and waters. We acknowledge these ancestral grounds as sacred and remember the complex history of settler colonialism on these lands and the effects that persist today. We commit to a restorative and healing relationship of the original inhabitants and our community.
Thank you. And now it is time for the mission statement.
The mission of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee is to create a more welcoming, connected, and equitable Oshkosh by consciously including the richness and complexities of marginalized voices in its planning and function.
Thank you. And now we are going to approve the minutes from the meeting November 25th, 2024. Are there any comments or concerns about the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you.
All right, I'll call the roll. Knott?
Here.
Yes. Cramp?
Aye.
Bulow?
Aye.
All right, 3.
Are there any citizen statements to the committee tonight?
We do not have anyone registered.
And then there's no public comment?
No public comments
Okay.
registered either.
And now it is time for a lovely presentation from the City of Oshkosh Senior Center.
Good evening. My name is Dan Brown. I'm the manager of the Senior Center here in Oshkosh, and I wanted to share with you kind of what we did last year and what the Senior Center is all about so that we can help enrich the quality of adults over 50 in the city of Oshkosh, which is our mission. So I'm going to go through some slides here. So as I just said, our mission is to enrich the quality of life for adults 50 and over. That is a number that I think a lot of folks might find themselves surprised at, that we are open to as many as we are, but we are glad to welcome them through our doors. So a bit of history. 1975, the Senior Center started in one room and then progressed through a number of locations. In the mid-1980s, the Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center was established as a fundraising group to help with the growth and future planning of the center and its activities. In the early 90s, the Friends Group raised about $500,000 to fund construction in partnership with the city of our south building at 200 North Campbell. And then about 7 years later, they raised $750,000 to purchase and renovate the former Do It Center, which we now call our north building, and it had been called the Annex and things like that. And this year is actually the center's 50th anniversary. So 50 years of serving the citizens of Oshkosh, doing a lot of good things for a lot of people. So support for the center comes from a variety of ways. The biggest one that folks can get involved with would be through the Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center. They are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that exists to help us fundraise and receive grants and steward dollars. Activities that they assist us with include Food Truck Friday, which is their big event coming up in June this year, so that will be something to watch for. Something new this spring, they'll be doing a football drafting party in April, so if there's a particular sports team that you are enthused by, you could have some fun there. There's going to be a number of raffles that they do and have done, and some different ways to try to reach different audiences. And then doing some annual appeals, kind of a more traditional fundraising type approach, reaching out to donors and interested individuals. A big part of the Friends of the Senior Center is also the Winnebago Senior Tours. I'll touch on that a little later on as I'm sharing some things, but that is a volunteer-led and run travel group that does everything from trips around Wisconsin to globally. And there is not an age prohibition on anything with that. So technically anybody can go on those trips. And then that financial support that the Friends provide us is critical. About 50% of our budget comes from the tax levy, and the balance comes from donations and fees. And of those donations, the Friends donates $70,000, or about 20% of that. So that is a huge part of what we require to do all of the things that we do. So we have a number of staff that we employ to help us do the things we do. There's a senior services manager, which is myself. We have a program supervisor who leads other staff and leads programs and other things that she does, an office assistant, and then we have 2 full-time activities coordinators, one in fitness and wellness and one in healthy lifestyles, which I know those terms sound similar. There is a fair amount of overlap, but one has more of an emphasis on physical fitness, physical activity. The other one is more of an emphasis on holistic and whole body kind of things like that. So there is some distinction and delineation between the 2 of them. And then we do also have 2 part-time activities staff. We have an associate coordinator for program and support. So that's a person who's helping us, making sure that our computer systems and our volunteer support systems and some of our documentation processes are doing what they're doing. They also lead programs and classes that speak to them and that support the overall operations of the center. And then we have a social and educational coordinator who does things with, again, specific programs, and they kind of overlap in certain areas, but they have very distinct and different capabilities to do the programs that they do. But we also rely very heavily on volunteers. 81 volunteers last year donated about 13,000 hours of time to help us do the things that we do, and we could not function without those volunteers. That would be a significant increase of cost if we did not have that available to us. So some very passionate people doing things that fill their bucket and help others fill theirs. So participant-wise, last year we had just over 2,100 unique participants at the center. Those participants did 50,313 total visits over the course of the year. So that's a lot of foot traffic in our 2 buildings. Ethnicity, I did a little bit of a dive on that today. Our population at the center is predominantly Caucasian, and that is with a very minimal breakdown of any other groups, as you can see there. Most of our participants are female, about 2 to 1, and then the average age of our attendees as a female will be 73. The average age of our male participants is nearing 76. So they are kind of in that, I'll call it typical, what you would expect to see at a senior center age range for a lot of our things. So attendance by program, the big blue pie you see there is fitness. So just under 62% of our attendance is derived from fitness, personal training, wellness related programs. So that is the lion's share of driver and why we have the staff resources that we do allocated the way we do, because that supports our biggest visit reason. Social and educational programs make up about 15% each, and that's things like nature programming, that's how do I type classes, that's legal financial type classes. Outreach and support is things like nail care clinics, it's things like blood pressure checks, it's that type of thing. And then we support a number of meetings and other from internal and external volunteers. So there's been a number of municipal meetings, there's been some other things there. One category that's not on here that I'm trying to quantify numbers is rentals. We do quite a bit of after hours and weekend rentals, just as folks are looking for a place to do a birthday party or host a gathering for family or craft sales. I guess there's a pretty cool pancake one coming up, so cool things to watch for. So a lot of foot traffic, and I guess the take home again is most of that foot traffic is geared towards fitness and wellness kind of things. Fees, so as I touched on earlier, the bulk of our the other 50% of our budget comes from user fees and things like that. So that's folks coming in to play cards. That's folks registering for a class on how to paint. That's folks registering for classes on making things with clay or wood burning or wood shop. We have an award-winning wood shop with nationally ranked artisans who, if you did not know that the wood fish that they carved was made out of wood, you would expect it to swim away. The bird, I mean, I can't say enough about how cool that stuff is. And the passion that these folks put into this, and they teach others how to do that, is really, really very neat. So we offer some different ways for folks to get in the door. If they want to just come bit by bit, day by day, they can purchase essentially a daily fee, or they can purchase a monthly pass once they feel more comfortable doing things, or they can go for an annual pass if they're all in, which we're seeing more of the monthly and some more of the annuals as folks are going through. So into some of the specific programs that we do, I kind of broke this down by broad category here. So in art, craft, and handcrafting, it's things like stained glass. We can grind and solder glass and paint it to match specific shapes, patterns, and things. Craft projects, everything from knitting to needle felting to sewing. Clay classes, we have a couple of kilns and a very passionate group of folks who will make amazing everything from plates to vases to all kinds of interesting shapes that I'm going to get wrong if I try to guess what they are, but they love doing it, and we're happy to work with them. Recently, we've gotten into resin classes where, for example, if you have like envision yourself a solar nightlight that has 4 sides to it, and then you can use resin and glass to make some shapes that will shine through that, so you can create a one-of-a-kind gift for somebody or yourself. Just some really kind of neat things on that order. And as I touched on earlier, again, knitting, crocheting, and quilting. We're also, one of our programs is the Wisconsin Warmers that makes quilts and donates them to Habitat for Humanity. They donate them to hospitals, all kinds of places, Christine Ann. So they are another very passionate group that does the things that they do. Our painting program, again, I touched on the wood shop. Again, everything from safety training to if you have one of our participants brought in a antique box that their great-great-grandparents got from somebody in the 1600s, and they had paperwork to it and said, this box broke, can I fix it? And they were able to restore it and repair it for minimal cost, mostly just the materials. So it's pretty fantastic, the craftsmanship and the time that goes into that. And that's part of what we do. Then we get into the exercise and fitness side of things. We have exercise classes that are cardiovascular focused, Tai Chi and yoga classes, circuit strength classes. We've added a TRX or a body weight resistance class where you're using a strap mounted to a beam. So it's very user friendly, we'll meet you where you're at. You don't have to do anything extraordinary one way or another. And all of our classes have a really great core group of folks who want to welcome that brand new person who's very intimidated to come and start something new. Maybe they've never done anything like this in their entire life, and they want to, they've heard their friend talking about it, and they want to experience what that feels like because they've seen the positive benefit from their friend. Well, they come in and they find this group of folks and they get welcomed into the fold, so to speak, and next thing you know, they're there every day, and they want to know all the cool things that they go on. We have a fitness center that has strength equipment. We have cardiovascular equipment, stretching equipment. We have a very vibrant and active line dancing and other dance group. And then our personal training, small group training, and our balance small group training things are aimed at specific tailored individual programs for whatever an individual needs work on to make sure that they, for example, rehab from a fall or prevent further things, or we have some amazing trainers that work hand in hand with not just the participants, but if needed, their medical provider to make sure they've got the safe, best thing to do that they need to do. Again, health and wellness, and that side of things, we have nail care clinics 2 to 3 days a week, depending on the week. We have some chronic condition management groups, our support groups in grief and Parkinson's, providing some invaluable counseling and just helping folks work through those processes and situations with experts in those fields in a very private, comforting setting. We offer a variety of wellness screenings from hearing to vision to balance. We've had bone density, blood pressure. We do a brain health fair every fall where we try to give interested participants tools to help keep their brain sharp and strong, because it's a very important piece as an individual ascends the number of years on the clock that they are aware and proactive on things. Some general health and wellness presentations, and again, that's everything from my shoulder hurts, why is that? How to manage arthritis, how to take care of yourself without medication, all those kind of things. And then we are very active participant in fall prevention programs and screenings. That's something in conjunction with the fire department and the Fox Valley Falls Coalition. So, falling is a very serious, in some cases, preventable situation. It's not a normal part of aging. And through the processes we work with, we're trying to make sure that if that happens, we have a way for an individual to work back to either with us or other providers to get the safest outcome they can. And then if a person does have an event, how can we work with you, maybe with one of our trainers, so that you can avoid that going forward. So some pretty impactful work there. Social, cultural, and educational. So this is kind of that fun stuff. It's all fun, don't get me wrong. But bingo, we have a very, very passionate group of folks who do bingo. One of the really neat things that the center has is our ukulele lessons and sing-along group. And but if I could put the word smile in a phrase, it would involve this, because these folks are some of the happiest, most outgoing. They love what they do, and that's a understatement. We have a book club. We do cards and games, everything from cribbage to sheephead to euchre to rumikub to bridge, mahjong, Mexican train. We have a chorus that's very active. It's north of 40 people. They do 2 concerts a year, a fall concert and a winter concert, I should say, and a spring concert. Those are held at the senior center. And the concerts you see there is more of things like we have individuals who, for example, might sound like an Elvis Presley or sound like a Neil Diamond or sound like other popular artists, and so we'll get 150 to 250 people coming into the center for a 2-hour show, and we'll also do some seasonal related concerts where maybe it'll be one around Oktoberfest or one in spring, Irish Fun kind of a thing. So tons and tons of opportunities for individuals to have some time. Social lunches, where folks will learn how to maybe meal prep, or because figuring out how to cook for 1 or 2 is very different than cooking for 2, 3, 4 plus. And making sure you're doing it in a healthy way, because it's not just important to figure out the quantity, but also the quality of that. And so our staff are very cognizant of that, and even some of our volunteers doing some of those programs. As a person progresses also in life, managing finances and investing in legal considerations around insurance, the home, assets, all those kind of things. What do I do with this? How does that work for my children? What if I want to leave something behind? How does that work? So we have presentations and seminars and sometimes one-on-one references to assistance with that. We do a movie and popcorn program. Eat and Greet is another cooking kind of social event. It's picture a big commercial kitchen and a whole bunch of laughter while they're all learning how to make a dish. It's kind of fun. And one of our, I think, most impactful programs is our technology education, or as we call it, Connect Through Tech. For just a couple dollars, you'll get one-on-one, and I mean literally a couple dollars, like $2 to $3. You'll get one-on-one attention for 45 minutes with a technology instructor who will sit down with you with your device and what does this symbol do? How do I this? And especially with, in particular, this generation, it's more common, or had been more common, that there's not a ton of depth of experience with that. So that's definitely something that the center started post-COVID and has made a huge impact on people to help them stay connected with family and everything from banking to medical providers to insurance and grocery shopping. Anything you can think of runs on those devices. And we try to help folks close that gap so they can not be so intimidated. Nature presentations, that is we have a partnership with a local organization and agency that they'll bring an individual in and they'll speak on any of the topics that he explores for a good solid 2 hours with a very in-depth, very broad, very grounded look at everything from butterflies to bald eagles to different fishes to seasonal patterns to wet and everything in between. It's an amazing resource, and you'll have 70 to 80 people in that room with him as he's narrating them down this journey. It's really incredible. And then the last one you see there, getsetup.com, is a service that the center has partnered with to help us expand our digital footprint for those folks who are more able to take advantage of some of those technology features. So they can experience essentially user-led and facilitated classes and programs at everything from A to Z that you could think of. And it's available at no cost to the user once they go to our site and log in through that, create an account. So everything, again, from fitness to nutrition to travel to language to support groups to just chat to help address isolation and loneliness, because we don't want anyone to feel like that. It's a very, very powerful tool that we're still trying to continue to ramp up our usage of. And there's more. So I touched on the Winnebago Senior Tours earlier. Again, they're part of the Friends of the Senior Center. Again, that's day trips around the state, performing arts, the Dells, various fairs, Door County, all the holiday shops and shopping fairs and things. Overnight would be, within the state or a state or two away, casinos, various festivals, sometimes shows, sometimes scenic tours. They've done fall foliage trips. They've done to the Niagara Falls, things like that. And the international trips. There's a group that's gone through Mediterranean Europe. There's gone to Africa, Australia. And again, that's all volunteer led and run, and a very vibrant community in and of itself that really does a lot to help enrich folks' life. And as I touched on earlier, again, we have a lot of volunteers that help us out doing all the things that we do at the center, ranging from front desk help to answering the phones and entering things into our computer system, office and clerical help. Tons of folks deliver the newsletter. The Friends of the Senior Center is always looking for volunteers, whether they're helping at events or interested individuals, on the board of directors, instructors for classes, special events if we have need to help us do the things we do. The Wisconsin Warmers, again, they're always looking for places and people to help them do the mission that they do. Building cleaning, we have some folks that love to come in and they just want to vacuum. Well, I can give you a vacuum. At our wood shop, and again, last year we had 81 volunteers that gave us 13,000 hours of their time, and we can't thank them enough, because without them we would not be who we are. And our community partners, most of them here, UW Oshkosh, the ADRC, again, they're a huge resource connector for us to help get folks the resources and things they need. AdvoCap is a partner for us. They support a lot of volunteers, and we're currently a meal site for them. The rec department with, again, providing some resources for classes and presentations, and we have a relationship through our staff with the various medical partners and providers in town with Aurora, Ascension, Theta Care, various physical therapy offices. Their doctors will take an hour and a half or 2 hours out of their day and come and just field questions, and here's what this means when your back does this, how to get up if you fall, that kind of thing. Valley VNA has helped us out in the past, had been a nail care provider, and now they provide blood pressure screenings and some other things along those lines. So that's the biggest ones that we have, and I'm sure I'm missing a few. I'm not trying to slight anybody, but the list would be way too long for one slide. So in 2025, we have some plans to actually do a few more things. We're working on expanding our hours because we can serve those who are over the age of 50. We want to try to expand cautiously and carefully outside of our current operating hours of 8 to 4. So we can be responsible for our taxpayer funding, but we also want to try to serve as many people as we can. So we're going to do that through hiring some trainers and working with our fitness program, again, to support that demand. Doing some evening, weekend crafting classes, educational classes. We're expanding into some language arts. I know there's going to be a French class starting very shortly at the center. There's been some interest in Spanish and some other languages, so those are on the horizon. We found a way to bring pickleball into the north building, so here comes the wiffle and the paddle. So that's definitely something that I've heard a lot of requests for since I started at the center 18 months ago. And then again, increasing our community space rentals. We have a number of groups that have been coming to us repeatedly because they like working with us and working in our spaces to do the things that they do for their groups. So trying to balance their needs with our needs and make sure everything makes sense and get folks a place to do the things they want to do. So, do you have any questions for me? I know that was a whole lot of information to digest.
One of my questions is, so can anyone over the age of 50 participate in these things? Is there residency requirement? Like, how do you, and then also, how do you track people? Like, so they have a pass? Is it a card? Like,
Great
how does that
question.
work?
So anyone over the age of 50 can participate in our programs. And as we are part of the Parks Department, so we do have and we are tax levy supported, we do have, for many of our programs, resident and
Okay.
non-resident rates. There's a nominal difference for a non-resident because their taxes haven't gone to support the center and the programs. And then the individuals that do choose to participate in our programs, we track them through our computer software system.
Okay.
So they check into the center. They can choose to use some funds they either bring with them or have on hand in advance, so they can pay their daily or weekly fee or their class fee that way. And then we track them through that system. They have the option to do like a barcode scan thing, but most folks, again, they develop those relationships with our volunteers and staff. And they, oh, hey, John, it's good to see you. And they punch them in, and off they go to their group.
Okay. Do you know what food trucks are going to be at Food Truck Friday?
I do.
You do?
I'm going to let Ann handle that.
Yeah, so so far we have 20 trucks.
Whoa.
And we take over South Park on Friday, June 6th.
Okay.
We have a huge variety, so like smokehound, barbecue. I'm really excited about Fana's on the Fly. It's a new Dutch truck, and okay, I'm gonna massacre what they make. These Pofferettis.
Oh,
Do you know
Pofferties. Pofferty? I only know it from Great British Baking Show.
Yeah. And so they make sandwiches out of
Yeah.
them and like cream puffy things, and then we have a crepe, and then we have Paloras comes. I mean, and your regular Chick-fil-A. So it's very kid family friendly.
Yeah.
You know, everybody kind of finds the food they love, finds a little spot near the music and grabs a cold brew, and it's really,
It's a blast.
it's we've been really lucky with weather, and I would say we get probably 3,000 people.
Wow.
It's exciting.
Yeah, definitely you should check that out.
You'll start seeing, if you follow the Oshkosh Senior Center, you will start to see notifications, save the date and all that fun stuff
Cool.
on Facebook.
Right. So, Ann, do you want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit more?
Sure.
She's got more to share.
So I actually work for the Parks Department. My name's Ann Schaefer, and part of what I do is work with the Senior Center on funding, and every once in a while we will get an opportunity to pursue grant funding, and we're really excited to announce we received a grant from the Wisconsin Arts Board, and we teamed up with the Oshkosh Public Museum, and we're putting on a program series of lectures, workshops, and presentations. And it kicks off on Sunday, February 23rd. And the whole premise is we had all that archaeological work going on in Menominee Park last year. We really got a lot of questions and interest level on it. So we thought it would be really good to bring the tribal preservation officers and the archaeologists that headed the program so that they could present and tell you how the whole process works. A lot of laws influence what goes down, which is a good thing, but there is a real method to when they find things, how do they repatriate those things? And I think the public really wants to know. And the other component, once we, at that event, we're going to announce, there's probably like 10 workshops for the public to do. That will be announced on that Sunday, and like one of them is Indian Story Stick with Deborah Morningstar. So you can actually participate in hearing what's the meaning of the Indian story stick, and you'll get to make one while you're there. And Deborah Morningstar, who's an Oneida Indian, can tell you about the history And I think everybody, once they participate in this, is going to find a new way to connect with the indigenous history in Oshkosh. And it was wonderful to partner with the museum. Originally, it was going to be just the senior center and the friends of the senior center, but I quickly realized, I was like, oh, I'm a little out of my element. And the museum stepped up with all their knowledge on Native American cultural heritage. And so it's turning out to be a really cool event. The QR code on that poster will take you right to where you registered. The first evening is free. We're going to have light refreshments, and we really want the community to turn out to show our respect for the tribes and this process and how the city actually handles coming across artifacts. So we hope you can be part of spreading the word. Michelle, I just did some Facebook events. So what I will do is put you've got a Facebook page, right?
We do. We have a City of Oshkosh Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion page. If you have any trouble, just get a hold of Courtney. She'll help you get it posted there too.
I'll put you guys as a co-host, and then that'll just help spread the word. But do you have any questions about it?
So there's this event on the 23rd, and then there's additional events. When are
We don't have those all wrapped up, but for instance, Kieran Ann Hoffman, who's a pretty well-known Native American scholar, is going to talk in a lecture about appropriation versus appreciation. And we're going to hold that out at the new Lakeshore Four Seasons building, so we can handle, 90 people. Deborah can take 50 people on her workshops. Some of them are going to be at the senior center. There's going to be a jewelry one, basket weaving. So the Oshkosh Public Library is going to do a book club with the books Braiding Sweetgrass, which is pretty well known, and when you talk to any of these folks, they recommend that as reading to get a better understanding of their culture. So there's quite a few others that are in the process of getting committed to dates and locations.
So that'll probably be like the end of February, beginning of March?
Well, we will announce the whole lineup on that February date.
Yeah.
And then they are coming in the March and April timeframes.
Wonderful. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really exciting. It was nice to get the grant. The Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center matched the funding, which was required. And then Discover Oshkosh contributed a sponsorship amount. So it's really making it possible to make this pretty big.
So for anyone listening, they can go to the Oshkosh
Senior Services webpage,
Yep.
and the very top is a link to sign up for the opening presentation. And as these other workshops are materializing, those links will be placed there too.
Right, and right now you have some postings on the Oshkosh Senior Center Facebook or the Oshkosh Parks Facebook, or
Both. The event is hosted on both of them, and soon to be on the Oshkosh Public Museum. So this week is our marketing push. So you're one of my first stops. So thanks.
Thank you. That sounds amazing.
Yes, it's really exciting to be part of. So, and we see potential growth because next year is the 250th anniversary of Native peoples, and so we might expand it for year 2, etc. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you guys. And if anybody has like a trafficked business, do you want a poster? I would love if you hang it
I was
up.
gonna ask if I could have one of those.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I
Thank
can take
you.
one too for my AU fellowship.
Perfect. Well, they're sealed tight.
You get the brand new ones.
Yeah, right?
Crispy
Hot off
fresh.
the presses.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you guys.
All right, well, thank you both, and I know you have some other commitments you need to run off to, but thank you so much for
Thank
coming,
you.
both of
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you do. Night.
Night.
Good night.
Whoa, don't want to lose my favorite pen. Thanks.
So now it is the committee member roundtable to share DEI-related activities and events in the area. And I have at least one.
Okay.
So, is the organization pronounced SEPO? SEPO? S-E-P-O?
SEPO.
SEPO, okay. They're having a community resource drive right now in light of recent pressures on the Oshkosh Immigrant and Refugee Committee or populations. So they're putting together assistance packages for families to build up a community resource supply at their center. So they have a whole list of resources that they need: personal care items, first aid essentials, baby and child care stuff, household items, food items, cash assistance. And for the food items, they ask that you purchase them at one of the local immigrant businesses in town, like the All-in-One African Food Mart, Mediterranean Market, White Dragon, Golden Ocean Foods, a couple others, just because these are foods that people will be more familiar with and brands that these communities, and also supporting immigrant communities. So that's one that I have. Did you have any other events?
Just want to expand on that real
Yeah.
quick, Amanda. One of the reasons that they're doing this drive right now is World Relief got a
Yes.
stop work order, and for immigrants that were placed here legally and are now being cut off from support, unfortunately. So anything our community can do to help these people that are our neighbors and going through a tough time of transition would be fantastic.
Exactly, yes.
They did say a few of the businesses also supply gift cards, can do that as well. There was a few that don't have them, but the ones that do, they said is a really good idea.
Related to immigration, Casa Hispania has posted that their doors are open for people who have questions about immigration. We do have them posted on our City of Oshkosh DEI website as well, including their phone number. If you have questions about what this all means, what your immigration status is, they have their open doors for that. Additionally, Casa Hispania also has their scholarship going on right now. Scholarship closes February 25th, so we've still got a good 4 weeks. So if you're a student in Calumet, Outagamie, or Winnebago County, you could be eligible. Again, we have the scholarship posted on our City of Oshkosh DEI page. There is a QR code as well to find out more about that. So a couple things there. And then Neenah, in Neenah, there's a Chinese New Year celebration on February 8th in Neenah, and in, I believe it's Appleton, the annual Northeast Wisconsin Chinese New Year celebration is on the 15th. All of those are also posted on our City of Oshkosh DEI Facebook page as well. So just a few things happening in the area for people to be aware of. So, I don't know if anybody's got anything else.
I don't have anything else on that.
It's winter, there aren't as many events right now, but
So are there any outstanding items / we should review future items on the council agenda? Carl?
Not a whole lot, actually, that overlaps with DEI that I noticed through, unless Michelle wants to correct.
yeah, I didn't come up with anything in particular. There is a workshop on the housing program, February 11th. I believe that is scheduled or going to be scheduled. Always an interest, I think, of the DEI group. That is scheduled for February 11th at 5 p.m. But that's the only thing I really saw for future items for the council.
I wanted to raise a concern that I hope that this committee can continue to exist. Because of the climate in which we are currently in. So I wanted to just, perhaps if you could get some confirmation from the city council in the next meeting or communicate with them that we are wondering about our status in the world.
Well, I'll tell you that I had some communication with Mayor Mugrauer very recently, where he has 2 applicants for joining our team here. That it won't be on tomorrow's agenda, but it should be on the next. I don't see any appetite from any city council member to discontinue this committee, and I will tell you it'll be me kicking and screaming and biting if I need to before
That's what I
anything
figured,
like that happens. So yeah, that has never ever come as a possibility, and I would be letting you know if I heard elsewise.
I just wanted to confirm.
Yep, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Yep.
Thank you. Did you have anything? No. Okay. Are there any future agenda items we want to add to the agendas in the future?
For a possible future agenda item, I did receive a question regarding a group that is interested in having the city sponsor a diverse event.
Okay.
We have in the past done it a couple of times, and currently the city doesn't have a very formal process on how that happens. Our Parks Department does not have a formal process to give our venues for free at this time. So the DEI has in the past recommended to council to approve the use of one of the city venues, and that interest has come up again. So we may have something coming down the road where we have a request. Again, our committee is advisory, so it would be more of a, if we would support recommending something to council.
Okay.
So just an FYI, that's, again, the interest has come forward, and that might come, to this committee in the future.
Love that.
So, other than that, I don't have any
Okay.
recommendations for future agenda items. I do know we have, and I did not bring anyone with me, but I do know we have speakers scheduled for March and April. Oh, I do have one future agenda item. Our May meeting does fall on Memorial Day, so I will put that on a future agenda to discuss what, if anything, we want to do about that, because City Hall is closed on Memorial Day, and so we will need to look at some action there. So I'll probably put that on the next agenda as well. That's all I can think of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
So adjourned.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now adjourn.
Here.